Call the meeting to order.
Jenkins?
Here.
Harden?
Here.
Hahn?
Here.
McKinley?
Yes.
Pearl?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First thing that we have on this evening's agenda is a public comment. Mr. Walsh, sir.
Yes, I'm Tim Walsh. I've been farming the 20 acres for the city for the last 4 years that you guys have owned it. In the first week of February, I came to City Hall to remind Mr. Willing and Mrs. Shaw that we needed to be doing something about the lease. Mr. Willing told me that we would not be doing the lease like we had in the past, that it was going to be put up for sealed bid. The one question I had for Mr. Willing at that time was, if I did not have the high bid, would I be given another chance to raise my bid? And he said, yes, you will. The city is looking for all. The city is trying to get every dollar out of that they can. So I went back home. A few days later, I received a call saying the packet was ready. Came in, grabbed the packet, went out to my truck and read it, immediately came back into City Hall and asked Mr. Willing, I said, I don't see anywhere in this where it says that I will have a chance to raise my bid. And he pointed out on the front page of the lease packet, that says the city reserves the right to accept or reject any and all bids. And he said that is what would be covering what I was asking. The day after the bids were open, I come into town and Mrs. Shaw told me that I did not have the high bid. And I said, well, I would like a chance to raise my bid. She said I needed to talk to Larry. I came in a couple hours later, he was here. I asked him about it and he says, well, after I told you that, I contacted our city attorney. The city attorney said that that is not how it was advertised. And I would not be given that chance. And I guess I am looking to have a chance.
Very good. I will be I would invite you to stay for at least the first part of our action items. I'll kind of address this because I was made aware of it, and I hope that my recommendation is suitable for you. So, thanks, sir. Were there any questions?
Thank you.
Thanks, sir. This moves us to section 1, the consent agenda.
I make a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I'll second. Call?
Jenkins?
Yes?
Harden?
Yes.
Hahn?
Yes.
McKinley?
Yes.
Pearl?
Yes.
Motion carried.
With there being no unfinished business, it moves us to section 3, new business.
I make a motion to approve resolution 2014-3, resolution accepting a contract for the conveyance of certain surplus real estate owned by the city of Farmers City of Illinois.
Discussion?
This is the final part of this, is what's been going on for quite a while. Obviously, Casey's does want to build out there on that 5 acres. This is the actual resolution allowing us to get into an agreement and sell the land to Casey's.
Questions?
Do they have any, by chance, any starting date they would like to,
I don't think that they would even project anything back until
whether?
they know the reserves.
Right.
Call it.
Harden?
Yes.
Hahn?
Yes.
McKinley?
No.
Pearl?
Yes.
Jenkins?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Make a motion to approve resolution 2014-4, awarding the 2014 mowing season to Hamlin's Lawn Service.
I'll second it.
Discussion?
This
Is
is
this
for
1 year, 2 year?
This is for 1-year agreement. We asked them originally to bid it for 2 years. However, both of them were told that we were only going to go with the 1 year. It's awfully hard for them to project what's going to happen a year in advance, the same for the city. So they both fully understood that when they put their bid in. So this is low bid for one mowing year.
The South Park is $220 a mow for how much mowing?
How much mow? You mean how many times
Or
or?
what area are they mowing? Ball fields,
Yes.
around the ball fields?
Yeah.
Do we go back to the west inning in there? Do we mow back in there someplace?
They mow the soccer field. Obviously, there's no mowing around the BMX, but there, and then a lot of that back, around the very back is tall grass that DNR once left tall grass, so. Yeah, this continues to go down, no matter who bids it, it continues to go down every year. This is cheaper than last year.
It's dead cheap.
Yes.
That's dead cheap, especially that city cemetery.
Yeah.
That's dead cheap.
Any other discussion? Call it.
Han,
Yes.
McKinley,
Yes.
Pearl,
Yes.
Jenkins,
Yes.
Harden,
Yes.
motion carried.
Make a motion to approve resolution 2014-5 for awarding the 20 acres of city-owned farmland.
I'll second
On discussion, the city manager, as Mr. Walsh explained, had incorrectly given Mr. Walsh the parameter in which the bids would be accepted. I would strongly recommend and highly recommend that we vote this down, and then by voting this down, everybody who would like to bid can bid under the agreed upon parameter which we set. That's my recommendation.
Mr. Mayor, if you would, what we could do is we're back to meeting every 2 weeks. Should this resolution be voted down, as you just stated, then the city clerk could repost it in the paper immediately and we could have it for an opening. We should be able to have it for an opening at the next council meeting. So whether Mr. Walsh or anybody else was to win the bid, it wouldn't be too late for anything that they would have to do for planning.
Any other discussion or questions?
Are we legally okay?
Yeah. Call it?
McKinley,
No.
Pearl,
No.
Jenkins,
No.
Harden,
No.
Han,
No.
motion carried.
Make a motion to approve resolution 2014-6, a donation of $500 to the annual Easter egg hunt. First Baptist Church for prizes and advertising.
I'll say it.
Discussion. And to note, Kristen McKittrick from First Baptist Church, who leads this off every year and does such a wonderful job, is here to answer any questions that you may have as well.
Why do we have two of them?
On one was Weedman Park, and that is where that it originally started, and that was the one that was in our packets. As of 2 years ago, this we outgrown Weedman Park, and we had to move to South Park, so it'll be held in South Park.
We donated this last year.
Negative. No, the chamber donated to, chamber co-sponsored, and we'll be asking the chamber to co-sponsor as well this Wednesday.
This will come out of the hotel motel tax fund.
Any questions? Call it?
Pearl,
Yes.
Jenkins,
Yes.
Harden,
Abstain.
Harden,
Yes.
Han,
Yes.
McKinley,
Yes.
motion carried.
Make a motion to approve resolution 2014-7, awarding of a TIF 1 grant for Precision Soya in the amount of $113,123 for a new commercial storage building.
I'll second it.
Discussion.
This will be for a new storage facility out there, as it's worded. Also, there will be offices included. This, I believe, came in at approximately 80% of what their total request us, so I don't have that total dollar on any of these, but that is how that came about. There are funds in the TIF for this.
Did they ask for some a year or so ago?
A couple of years back, they came in, and when they were putting up new grain dryers and we abated their taxes, instead of giving them a cash award, we can no longer abate taxes because it would go outside the length of the TIF. So this was how we had to do it this time.
Any other questions? TIF expires December, correct?
31st, yes.
31st. Call
Jenkins,
it? Yes.
Harden,
Yes.
Hahn,
Yes.
McKinley,
Yes.
Pearl,
Yes.
motion carries.
Make a motion to approve resolution 2014-8, awarding a TIF 1 grant to Tri-County Sales and Service in the amount of $14,840 to help defray the cost of a new roof.
I'll second.
Discussion?
Randy came in during the same TIF meeting. He needs a roof and some repairs to the building. This will include for both, allow him to have both of those done. Again, this roofs are at 60%, I believe, is how this one came about.
Any discussion? Call it?
Harden,
Yes.
Hahn,
Yes.
McKinley,
Yes.
Pearl,
Yes.
Jenkins.
Yes.
Motion carries.
You can't do one? My voice is getting tired, we might as well do one.
I'll make a motion to approve resolution 2014-9, awarding the TIF 1 grant to Fields Pet Care in the amount of $73,098 for building repairs at 212 South Main.
I'll second.
Discussion?
What kind of building repairs?
He's going to, he wants to change the facade of the building and go back to something similar when it was Hammers Market. Put the doors back in the center of the building, have some new lighting, roof repair. The part of his expenditure will be new windows and electrical updates and stuff. So he's really going to revamp the building. He has another business that's ready to move in once he gets the inside remodeled. So there'll be another new business come to town if that all pans out. So,
What percentage of his total is he giving?
excuse me?
What percentage of the total?
I believe that this came in at 60%, didn't it, Sandy? Roofs generally are 60%.
Any other discussion? Call it?
Hahn,
Yes.
McKinley,
Yes.
Pearl,
Yes.
Jenkins.
Yes.
Harden,
Yes.
motion carries.
This moves us to section 4, other items, city manager's report.
My city manager's report tonight's kind of going to focus on, as you know, the weather's taken a toll on everything, including the water system here in Farmer City with the frozen residential lines. Tonight, our new wastewater superintendent, Calvin Flory, is present. He can answer any questions that you might have. He's been out there working with the guys and trying to get some of these lines open. They've had some success, and they've had some that have been giving them fits. Calvin's only been on the job for a week, but he's getting a crash course in some of the deficiencies within the water department, within the sewer department, so he realizes he's got his hands full. If you're not Facebook fans, or even if you are, today the city clerk took a call from the Village of Saybrook. The Village of Saybrook had been watching the Channel 3 news, and they have 8 service lines up there, and nobody was giving them advice on how to thaw the lines and get them water. So they had actually called today and wanted to know what we were doing down here. So it's not unique to Farmer City. It's just been an awfully rough winter. I don't care really who you talk to. Talk to Kevin Whitehouse. I've talked to Dana Evans down at DeWitt. Everybody will tell you the same thing. And unfortunately, if you're the victim, you don't want to hear it. But and I just want to let you know that when complaints came in, the guys went out. They went out in a timely manner. We offer garden hoses to run water so that you get your water. We made a diligent effort. But folks, this is Calvin Flory. I'm going to let Calvin speak for just a minute in case there's anything that, if you have any questions, or maybe he can give you a perspective on what he's seen so far.
Well, when it started on Monday, the very first day, we had a water leak, so we went there and fixed that. And then I started to receive calls about information from Larry concerning the frozen water lines. So we went by house, Chad, myself, and Glenn, and try to ascertain, what's frozen up in the line. How do you remedy this situation? And we found everything under the sun possible. Meters frozen, service lines going into the house frozen, a couple service lines going to the main frozen. So we began to attack those. We did do some garden hose stuff for some people, and I still have a gentleman with the garden hose hooked up, which sounds like kind of a weird idea, but as long as you keep that hose running, it will, from spigot to spigot, it'll supply your house with water. We've been trying to dig one up out on 54. Well, we have it halfway dug up out on 54, but then it looks like it's snaking around and terminating under the 54 approach, which is the state right away, and it has 8 inches of concrete on it and 36 inches of frost in the ground. So that's going to have to be either jackhammered out. And this is what we've come up against. Illinois American Water graciously loaned us a machine, because they saw our plight. They came over here with an entire crew of water experts, in my opinion. They sent a foreman, 2 laborers, and a boss over, to advise us. And they helped us dig up a couple, and we fixed a couple. And the one that's frozen now on Maple, I've got 2 frozen up. And they actually worked with us on that. And we've fed steam into the line for hours at a time. And we're unsuccessful because for some reason there's a fitting or something that's not allowing us to get to the actual frozen part of the pipe. So today we're trying to locate some lines and see exactly where that went. And tomorrow I'll probably dig up the whole street there on Maple Street for a good piece. Because we got 2 houses right next to each other. I don't know if the services are connected together or what the situation. I can tell you we've dug up 4 service lines, not any are the same. The leak was on a plastic line, so it's a deal where we have to deal with each individual thing, and it's slow digging through a lot of frost like that. Requires jackhammers and backhoes. The conditions today, freezing, last week bitterly cold, snow, but we're trying, promise you that.
Okay.
Are you finding lead lines too? Anything lead lines or just copper lines?
Just
Copper.
copper, plastic, copper of all different sizes and things like that mostly. And everywhere. Well, even one today, we got a call very first thing I came in today, another house froze. Went there, it was just a meter, thank goodness, thawed it out. So it continues to happen. Even though we're trying to tell people to please run their water.
And my next question, the people that's froze up, are they still running their water now to keep it from happening again? Have we had to dig it up?
I strongly encourage that.
Yeah.
And yes, I hope so. But not everybody is, because one was froze this morning when we came in.
The machine that American Water loaned us, was that something they made or was it something they purchased?
It looked like to me to be a homemade contraption. We took a lot of pictures of it.
It was made at Silver Machine Shop, 'cause I was talking to the guys last Monday, trying to get them to get over here to start working a week ago. And it was made at Silver Machine Shop. So
Love to see something like
if
that.
you get a hold of Silver Machine Shops at $500, we'd have it made.
Yeah, we took a lot of pictures of it. I'm very familiar with how it works, and the guys also. And that crew they sent over, they were really nice, but and I can tell you, they've had the same problem, and they cover a large area,
They've been
and they're
working
a big, fancy professional company, and they do it the same way we're doing, so.
They've been working in Champaign for the last 2.5 months over there. So I know
Yeah.
for a fact they're doing lots of stuff over there.
They took their machine back, and then they had to take it to D-Land, and they let us run over there, and we got it again, and we brought it back. We worked on Saturday. We've been trying to do what we can. Today was pretty cold. I'm struggling with where these water lines are at now. And the worst scenario is I don't want to start digging in the ground with a lot of frost and rip something out of a water main or hit something or break something. So you got to go pretty slow.
Welcome to Farmer City.
Sorry to first meet the like this, but thank you.
You've got 3 months to make everything right.
I'm gonna give you an update. Give you an update too. You had authorized a purchase order for gas photo to go to the cemetery lift station. Remember, I told you that you were down to that one pump. The check valves weren't working. I believe they're coming in Wednesday.
Yes.
So these guys, they were going to go out and work on water lines today, but they had to go down and work on the lift station, get it ready for this company to come in. They had to take the vacuum truck down there and vacuum out the silt and everything else that comes through a lift station. So, and another issue was some metering out the water plant. Those meters have come in. The installation is going on now. So some of that work that you had authorized purchase orders a month ago or a couple months ago, that work's starting to progress too. So,
Anything else to your report?
no, sir. We have the golf cart issue that I think that Mac's going to talk about. So.
Lee, what's the deal on John Street? What's the pile on the road? Do you have a sewer?
Oh, yes. Yes, with everything else that's gone wrong, 2 days before Calvin started, there was some sewage backup on the John Street sewer again. The guys worked up there for 2 days. 2 houses had raw sewage in their basements, and some of those old rag mops. Remember last summer when I was telling you about rag mops? Some of those old rag mops evidently finally worked their way down through the sewer line and got entangled in some tree roots. So there again, we didn't have a cutter on our vac truck. Called over to Leroy, and the guys were up there for a full day trying to vacuum it out. Actually got the hose stuck, the nozzle stuck a couple times. Called over to Leroy. Leroy said, if we got a piece of equipment, you can come and get it. They didn't have what we needed. Called over to Muhammad, and they had a cutter wheel. So Fred went over and grabbed 3 different sizes of cutter wheels. Finally got through the tree roots, and the plan was to go back the following day and run through a larger cutter wheel to obviously get out as many as they could. But Muhammad called, and then they had a sewer backup, so they needed their equipment back. So we have since ordered cutter wheels for our Vector truck in case we have tree root issues again. Those tree roots are right there at the crosswalk is where they kept getting hung up. So it's just been one thing after another. The Depot Road lift station, one of those motors failed again when all that was going on, and so now it's being rebuilt. He's got his hands full, but
The rag mops, where'd they come from?
the lift station, they come out of the rest area.
What did we ever get out of that whenever we was having a meeting with them a while back?
0. If you want to sue them, we can try.
I think Chapin Rose could help out on that, call the senator and just see if they can encourage,
I don't know.
that's worth a
Yeah.
try.
Had IDOT had everybody there, but, basically the governor, and we're gonna get some cooperation. We got absolutely nothing. So, and hopefully this is the end of the rag mops. There weren't any in the motor path.
You
So-
said you think it just worked its way down, so you think that they've corrected the situation and they're not
Well,
flushing
they-
these things down again?
Right. They had told us months ago, Mayor, that they were no longer going to use the rag mops. And we haven't had any issues since then, since we had the meeting out there. There again, this motor failed, but there were no rag mops entangled into the impeller. And I think that the rag mops probably would have went through, but they got caught up in the tree roots, so,
Okay.
which caused the backlash.
Any questions to the city manager in this report?
Is that worth a phone call to talk to?
I think it is. I think
Let's get a hold of
we'll contact,
our senator.
we appreciate Senator Rose and at least letter of recommendation he gave for the last grant, and then he was here. Pat, you got to speak with him. I don't know if anyone else as well. But he's also been instrumental in getting the ball moved on the brownfield across from Huck. So let's see if we can't utilize this relationship and see if we can't get something back. So I mean, this is something that they sent our way, and some sort of compensation I think
Yeah.
is in the best interest of the citizens of Farmer City. So,
Mayor, also, the APPA meeting is coming up next week, and I'll be attending that as well. So,
And what meeting's that?
excuse me,
That's APPA.
American Public Power Association meeting,
Where's that at?
Washington.
non-agenda items and other business.
I've got a couple little things here. One is on our golf cart ordinance. Randy Matthews called me today, and he mentioned that the ordinance starts April 1st, and he was just saying, now this year probably wouldn't happen because of the weather we're having, but he would like to see that backed up to March 1st, because we have had some nice weather. Actually, what he'd like to see is the permit good for all year.
I'm sure you would.
And I don't see anything, I know I've golfed in March.
I remember we discussed this, it was a matter of
Yeah.
safety with the snow and ice, isn't it?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
the March,
yeah, I don't,
I,
I think we ought to consider the March thing. And,
global warming and everything, it's gonna be
all right,
hot in February.
and hopefully.
Apparently not.
And the other thing, he was a little concerned about the $100 fee. I told him I would bring it up. Personally, I think $50 is plenty, but it's at 100. That'll be,
I don't have a problem with the $100.
I don't either. It's just
I say, I told them, the towns need several more $100.
As of next year, I think that would be something to consider, the March date, but I don't think I would back it up all the way to the beginning of the year.
oh yeah, I think, yeah, because I think now it goes from April 1st to November 1st, is that right? I think that's what, yeah, November 30th. Yeah, so I think March 1st would be,
Jen, any other items?
yeah, I do. This is just something, rest of you guys to think about. We got the Junior Kimmler Memorial Race goes on during the fair, and they're fronting the bill on that for $1,500. I would like to see some dollars come out of the hotel motel, kind of boost that up, maybe $1,000 more, because we can get some people to town if we start upping that entry fee or payout fee. But that's just a thought.
The hotel's full during that,
Pardon me?
or is the hotel full during that, or is everybody camping?
Probably not on that one, but now they will be come this one here in March,
The big show.
the April 5th and 6th, the big show. But then they have another one in, I think it's in June or July, it's called the Summer Nationals. They should be filled up for that. It all boils down to money. You start paying out money, you're gonna start getting the big dogs. You get the big dogs, you get the crowds. So just something to consider. Stay in.
And I can tell you how the hotel motel tax, they came to us about some new raceway banners, and they're back there in the storage office, if any of you'd like to see them, that did come out of the hotel motel tax. So we've already spent a little bit towards the promoting of the races, so. Hotel motel tax doesn't have a real strong balance right now, so.
Yeah, I don't know what's in there.
It hasn't been a good year for tourism, I guess.
Right. And I don't know that if the city would be involved, interested in that.
I'm not opposed to it at all.
But it is the bottom line. You get the big dogs here, the people will come.
I know there's some races that really fill up out there where they camp out all over the place, and there's definitely a boost to business during that time period, so absolutely.
Mac, who's scheduled to be up there? Kenny Wallace?
I'm not sure
There is a big name racer coming. I did
Okay.
see that.
for which one.
It's a May race.
A May race.
Mm-hmm.
They'll be from all over. Come April 5th and 6th, they'll be from 15 different states out here.
Ultimately, my suggestion is this: if they would like something like that, they should put out a request for it. I mean, it's definitely something I would,
You're
entertain.
talking about the Fair Board?
Yeah, I mean, if it's something, I mean, this council could sit are just around here and start naming off organizations that would like to help, but I mean, if they don't want the help or if they would like to help, by all means, utilize that fund and request it. And if you have a contact, or, you know.
Yeah, I've talked to Lance and I've talked to Rick Cornelio and, yeah.
The request has to come from them.
It has to
so,
come from them, that's fine.
And then we can move forward after that. So, very good.
They've been coming to us for the fire department. We must come work somewhere.
To the fire department.
Back to, Rita.
Yep.
Back to the cards, we've been having very many people come and get the applications or what they need to do or anything, or
2.
two? Okay. I know it ain't been the right weather, but I didn't know if I
Right.
was wanting to, so.
Just 2.
Anyone else? I got 2 items. Well, as you guys probably know, in the when it comes to the electric department, I mean, we flipped it last year. We were in the red considerably, and each and every month it's staying in the black, which is great. You look at the water; it's the same thing. It's in the black. The sewer is not so. We are in the red every month, and I would like. I know it's not popular to speak about, but at the same thing, we do maintain that department, and it needs to have at least replenishing, you know, everything we're spending, and at the same time, given the state of our entire water system here, I mean, we're going to need to draw from funds for infrastructure. So we need to look at a way of getting either some recommendations on what we need to do to get out of the red and get into the black there.
Well, I think one thing you can do is start replacing those meters. Now, I've talked about, I want to see remote read meters. I want to see a switch over to them. We've got, you know how many meters we got that aren't working right now?
I do not know that, but
But I know it's about 120 to 150 meters. Right there is enough revenue to start helping this thing out. Maybe it's not going to blade into the black, but you can't keep doing that forever.
I can tell you that was one of the first things that Larry talked to me about,
Yeah.
and I'll be looking at that.
It's something I'll be talking about a lot more as time goes along. I'm not going to let it rest. So,
I'll be on it.
okay.
And when you talk about the sewer fund, he's going to come in here one of these days and let you know that the aerators out on the settling ponds, I think it was a total of 6, and now you're down to 1 or 2 of them are only working. So you could literally spend $250,000, $300,000 out there just trying to make some repairs there, and that's money that's not in that fund right now. So yeah, there's a dire need for a lot of repairs.
How much money we lose due to the rest area fixing up the pumps?
Probably, I'm just going to have to give you a rough idea. 20 grand.
I guess it's still worth being on that.
No,
And I'm probably real close on that, Pat. I'm sorry. Probably real close.
One final thing, and this is something I'd like us to be considering. As is my understanding, in the past, can you explain a little bit about TIF now? If we were to make a decision next year that we would like to continue the TIF program, are we allowed now to just request it and we do not necessarily have to get permission from?
This TIF has to expire.
TIF has to expire.
You cannot extend the extension.
Got
This TIF has to expire, then you can create a new TIF. But by doing that, you're basically starting from scratch, and you have to go back to those taxing bodies. You can leave the school out and have a smaller TIF if you can get the other governing bodies to sign off on it. But that's where you're at
This
right
needs
now.
to expire. Okay. All right. Any other questions, discussion? Entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll say that.
Call it.
McKinley,
Yes.
Pearl,
Yes.
Wiggins,
Yes.
Harden,
Yes.
Klein.
Yes.
Motion carries.